Hi there, my name is Suki Sandhu and I'm the founder and CEO for Audeliss and Involve. Audeliss is an executive search firm that levels the playing field for diverse talent, and diverse talent for us has always been gender, ethnicity and LGBT+. And Involve is an inclusion consulting firm where we help businesses be more inclusive. So Audeliss is about recruiting senior talent for leadership teams and boardrooms, and Involve is about helping you to retain talent at all levels. And I established the businesses over 9 years ago. This is my 10th year as founder and CEO. And in terms of my background, I mean, I tick many different boxes. So I'm Indian, I'm Sikh, I'm gay, I'm working class. One of the weirdest things about me actually that people don't know is that I'm from Derby originally, which is a small town in the UK, because everyone always assumes that I'm really posh when I'm really not. And I've always worked incredibly hard in terms of setting up the businesses. The reason why I wanted to establish my own business because I wanted to do things differently. I wanted to do them better. I've been in the world of executive search for over 17 years now. And before I launched Audeliss, I genuinely wanted to start a business that really focused on leveling the playing field and helping increase representation, making sure that there were role models for diverse future leaders to look up and find people like them. People want to be who they can see. And when it came to Involve, I kind of recognized that we're doing all these incredible appointments in Audeliss, which was great and amazing, but then that's only one side of the coin. How do those individuals feel when they land? How do they feel when they get there? Do they want to stay? Is the environment, the culture, is it a place of belonging? And that's why we launched Involve. We also do these incredible role model lists in Involve where we publish the top 100 women, the top 100 ethnic minorities, the top 100 LGBT+ leaders, and we do the allies and the advocates for each list too. And we reach millions of people globally when we publish them with our media partner Yahoo Finance. And they're incredibly proud moments for me personally, because that's why I originally set up Involve. I think role models are really important to drive people's inspiration and aspirations and get them to be better and to do more for their community, for their different demographics in their businesses and outside of work too. And I got here in terms of where I am now through sheer hard work and determination. There's a great quote, something along the lines of enthusiasm is the secret to success. And I don't think you can get anyone more enthusiastic than me about my businesses and my purpose. And I have an incredible team. I can't do it on my own. I have the best leadership team I think I've ever had. And the team below, it's been a pretty tough few months with the pandemic to deal with. But you can't do everything on your own. You need a great team behind you, which I have. My husband obviously has been fantastic in supporting me as well throughout my career. Couldn't have done it without him. And you kind of need a little bit of luck. I do think that although you can work really hard, you need to work hard, you need a bit of luck, and you need a great idea, and you need passion. They're the key kind of things that help me to get to where I am today. I really care about helping others. I think with the nature of what my businesses are and what they do, they are both about helping people. They're about helping candidates find their next leadership role or board appointment. It's about helping clients find the best candidate, and Involve is about helping companies be more inclusive, which in turn helps the employees feel like they belong and creating an environment where they can bring 100% of themselves to work. So I genuinely care about wanting to make a difference and wanting to drive representation at the top, both sides of the pond, both here and in the US. And my values have always, I believe in honesty, integrity, I believe in positivity. I think you want to be someone's radiator, not someone's negative sponge. And so I think attitude is really important as well. That kind of optimistic mindset is what kind of gets me out of bed every day, knowing that I'm hopefully making a difference with my team and the people around us. And I really want to ensure we continue that mission. And my aim, I suppose, or purpose with the business is that we don't need to exist in 5 years' time, because we've done such a good job in making sure that companies inclusively hire and recruit the best talent, and trying to make it more meritocratic, and making sure that everyone can be themselves in work. So that's kind of where my kind of ambitions lie. The pandemic and COVID-19 has been one of the toughest and most insightful periods of my entire career, I have to say. I've always grown the business. So I've mentioned that I'm in my 10th year as founder and CEO of my two businesses, and I've always grown. We've always hired more people, we've moved into bigger offices to accommodate the desks, and it was the first time in the last 4 or 5 months where I've had to really deep dive into the business, analyze everything, make some really tough decisions, and contract. I've never had to consolidate before and make people redundant. And it's probably been one of the hardest periods of my entire life, but I've learned so much in the last 4 or 5 months than I have in the past 9 years. And for me, it's been a real roller coaster, from really hating remote working initially at the beginning of lockdown. I was like, I can't do this. This is too hard, because I would always be running around London or New York doing meetings with clients and presenting what we do and sharing best practice, etc. And seeing it where I had to do it from the same space of the same 4 walls was awful. But then roll forward now to where we are, where it's probably 4 or 5 months in, and I have to say I've really adapted to remote working. I really enjoy it. I'm not missing the running around London or traveling to New York, although I probably do miss New York and Manhattan, but more so probably because I miss my friends and colleagues over there, not seeing them physically. But it's been great, like adapting to remote working, and I'm really into my fitness. So doing all my training here at home. I have my Patron where I cycle probably 3 times a week. I've got my weights, the amount of money I'm saving by not spending it on going to studios or Barry's boot camp. And it has been a real change in the way that I work, even with my team. And we've all pretty much adapted, because in the line of work that we do, everyone can work remotely. So it's been pretty easily transitioned across into that way of working. And I didn't think I'd say that I enjoy it as much as I do. And the only thing I kind of miss is I do miss seeing my colleagues physically, but if they're happier working from home and they're more productive, why do I want to try and force them to come back into the office? And I think I miss the creativity around brainstorming or ideas, where you might be in a room and feed off each other's ideas. But then we should be trying to recreate that experience using technology and Zoom or Teams, where they've got whiteboarding that you can do. And I feel like I haven't got all the answers to that yet, but it's been a really, really tough year. We looked at the operating model, we've changed the way we do things, had to make some really tough decisions and make people redundant. But once we consolidated and got over that roller coaster of emotions, we do at some point now have to start focus on who we have and look forward. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. Who knows what the future holds? I mean, if we know that, we'd all be billionaires by now. I think it's from a diversity and inclusion perspective, which is what I do. There is still so much work to be done. I think with the recent Black Lives Matter protests, I think what it showed is how everyone is angry, not just Black people, but also non-Black people, about the lack of change when it comes to race and ethnic minority diversity, and particularly the Black community. And that's the house that's on fire right now. And what the Black Lives Matter movement did is it also kind of validated the work that we've been doing over the last 9 years. So one of the reasons I set up Audeliss, for instance, is to get companies to realise that diversity is more than gender. because I was getting frustrated with CEOs and chairmen constantly saying to me, hey, we want to hire a female CFO, a female chief marketing officer, or a female board member. And I'd be like, that's great, well done you, but you have an entirely white leadership team and an entirely white board. What about race? So it's interesting rolling forward now, 9 years later, to where we've been banging this drum for over 9 years about race, and the BLM movement was definitely a catalyst for companies to actually do more. And for me, I want to use that movement to hold companies accountable when it comes to race inclusion, because we all have a part to play in that, including me as a non-black person, to be more of an ally to the black community. And so my goals haven't necessarily changed, I'm just even more determined. I think we can all agree that change is the one constant that everyone has to deal with. And I get that everyone deals with change very differently, but we have to also embrace it. And if one thing you haven't learned in the last 4 or 5 months, particularly with the remote working, is that we've demonstrated that actually flexibility does work. People can be productive. There are definitely companies that I've spoken to where they couldn't ever have imagined their entire workforce working remotely, yet they managed to make it happen. And I think we have to remember that the remote working also hasn't necessarily been normal remote working, because we've had a pandemic to deal with. Say parents, for instance, have had to homeschool their children, whereas ordinarily they might be at school, so they can actually work more effectively at home. And all I hope is that we just take the lessons learned from what's happening and try and ensure that we move forward in a constructive, inclusive and a blended approach. Because I'm getting frustrated reading in the news about the return to work agenda, and even that language of return to work I don't like, because it makes it sound as though people aren't working at the moment when everyone's probably working twice as hard. So I kind of hope that we're able to make decisions in a way that are more action orientated, because I think what we've learned from the pandemic as well is that when we thought everyone couldn't work from home remotely, they could. And I think this is a positive step for inclusion, because it opens up talent pools. It means companies don't necessarily have to find people in London or in Manhattan. They can actually look further away, and it will hopefully help make those talent pools access roles that they ordinarily wouldn't get to. So for me, change has been really hard, but I think we just need to look to the future and hope that we learn the lessons over the last 4 or 5 months.